Hey folks, Dagan here, and today I have the absolute pleasure to be showcasing for you something wonderful while playing through something else which is wonderful, but we're here to talk about this. This is the wonderful, three times the three wonderfuls in a row, you know it's good. This is the TONEX Cab by IK Multimedia. Was it three wonderfuls in a row or four? So, what is this bad lad? In a world where more guitar players, myself included in this group, are using digital modeling live to save having a... These are lovely, these big amps and stuff, but every venue in the world has stairs. And when you play lots of gigs, we all get old and our backs start to hurt. So more guitarists are starting to use modelers, digital amp technology and all that jazz. Things like the TONEX pedals like that. But it's a totally different ball game. So many guitar players these days have never played with a real amp on stage, and that's insane. The feeling you get with actual air moving on stage and not just coming through a PA cab, it's second to none. It makes you play different, it makes you play it better, and it makes you kind of feel more in the moment. And don't get me wrong, there are cabs like this on the market, these whole FRFR, full range, flat response speakers and stuff. Let's actually play a little clean sound just for... Okay, that buzzing is my Sustainiac. It's not the TONEX cab or the TONEX pedal. It's this guitar, but I'm committed to it, so let's just stick with it. Anyways, what was I saying? I keep getting distracted. There are other FRFRs on the market like this, but a lot of the times with those, or repurposed wedges, or PA speakers, let's say, they can sound quite thin, quite harsh. And the whole thing with the digital modeling thing is you get the amp sound in a studio, essentially like a mic'd up speaker cab in the studio, but live you get that lovely processed guitar tone. You don't, when you play an amp with volume, it feels different and it sounds different. And when you whack any modeler, whether it be the TONEX or a Fractal or a Kemper or a Helix or whatever, into one of these cabs, it does make quite a bit of difference. And today I'm going to tell you why. And it does this in a multitude of different ways. It's very responsive, it's very reactive, and it's got a lot of resonance to it, and it interacts with your playing. I know these are all just buzzwords, and I know for a fact that YouTube compresses everything, and this has a 12-inch speaker in it, which I'll talk about in a second, and the high HF driver thing up here. I'm micing up the best I can with a Shure SM57 and a Lewitt Ray mic, but you've really got to stand in front of one of these in person with any kind of preamp pedal or modeler you want and just give it some. Because it moves air, it makes your trousers flap. Well, less skinny trousers than this, just like a real amplifier. I suppose these are just my first impressions of what to expect when you plug into this, before I get into any of the nitty-gritty stuff. It's not boxy at all. It's got the most amp-like presence of all these little FRFR cabs I've tried in many a moon. Well, they've only been out for a couple of years, and this is... right. Anyways, what makes this so special? Besides being the most powerful, smallest, and lightest FRFR cab in its class, it's only £28. It's actually got a few very unique and clever features which stop this being a regular, run-of-the-mill, hi-fi, very sterile-sounding PA speaker. You'll first notice when plugging into the TONEX cab, whether that be through quarter-inch jack like I am with the TONEX pedal or via XLR, that there's lots of delicious controls up top. You've got a 3-band EQ, so you can EQ this amp anywhere your heart desires, and I'm going to touch on the EQ with the presets more in a second. Yes, there's presets, but the most important thing for me is the amp tone control, which is a very special control. Like I was saying before, most modelers capture a tone, or not capture is buzzword, I guess, but they're like a tone from a studio. A very close mic kind of sound. It doesn't sound like a cranked amp on stage. What the amp tone control allows you to do, let me just turn it down while I'm playing. Actually, I'm going to turn off some of this reverb and stuff. What that allows you to do is not only go between close mic'd and live guitar amp, but blend between it. So this is all the way amp tone. All the way mic, sorry. It's like going from listening to an amp with headphones on to having an amplifier in front of you, but it's all coming from one cab. I hope that makes sense. It's a very unique thing, and I know YouTube again compresses everything, but it's a very unique thing that really sets us apart from the rest, especially for the guys and gals like myself that want to use this modern technology like TONEX and fractals and helixes and quad cortexes, but want the old school feel and the old school tone live. This does it, man. So that's all the way live, let's say, live as it says. I like it around 1 o'clock, just personally to my ears. I don't like it fully live. I like some of the close mic tones. I think I'm probably so used to it with using modelers for years. The TONEX pedal itself is really good. Like it's known for having beautiful dynamics with you. It's very dry, isn't it? Very beautiful dynamics with what you're playing. A smidge of reverb there. And that, tied with this cab, gives you the best of both worlds. It's a wonderful little thing. Bravo, IK Multimedia. Everything you've done with TONEX, if anyone from IK Multimedia is watching this, bravo. Right, so the amp tone is probably my main thing that I love so much, but it's a very simple control, and that's everything it does in a nutshell. But like I say, there's a 3-band EQ up top, so you can home your tone in perfectly for different live situations. Get it right on the TONEX or whatever pedal through your monitors or headphones or whatever. When you get to a gig, from stage to stage, rehearsal room to rehearsal room, things sound very different. So this 3-band EQ allows you to easily manipulate and tweak your tone so it sounds perfect every single night. Just taking all the bass off for the crack. Apologies, I haven't got a third camera up here. I haven't got that many cameras, but hopefully you can see by the little screenshots and stuff. So that's just manipulating, I'm scooping all the mids out because I could. Manipulating the amp tone, let's say, tone through the TONEX cab. And like I say, why would you want to do that? Different rooms sound different, so get your tone perfect through your headphones, through your monitors of your modeler or amp profiler or whatever, and tweak it to the room with the TONEX. The TONEX cab, I should say. But wait, there's more. Not only can you do all that, tweak the EQ and the amp tone settings and all that jazz, you can save 8 presets. Like save your EQ settings, save your amp tone settings. And that's a wonderful thing. So you can basically have 8 perfectly curved EQ amp cabs in the TONEX cab to pull out whenever you want. So you can save them for either, say if you're playing the constant circuit of venues around your town or whatever, like I do some wedding band stuff and I'm always playing the same places and every place sounds different. I could hook up 8 different sounds so my tone is consistent at each of those gigs. You can also set it up so they fit certain presets within your patch of your TONEX or whatever modeler you've got. And you can either change it on the fly, if you want to do it that way, if you've got a certain amount of songs that you want to do and switch between them, that's all well and good. but it's all MIDI controlled, MIDI compatible, I should say, the TONEX Cab. So you can MIDI up your TONEX and the TONEX Cab, or any profile or whatever you've got, run it all off a MIDI clock, and have the presets in the TONEX Cab change with the presets of whatever you're running. It can all be done on the fly. But with those 8 presets you can save, obviously, the 8 EQ curves or whatever you want to save it as. You can also download IRs to this bad lad as well. So you can choose between 8 of your favorite pre-saved impulse responses in the TONEX Cab, ones you've captured yourself, ones you've downloaded from your favorite YouTube capturer man, or whatever. But if you don't want to do that, when you buy the TONEX Cab, IK Multimedia, obviously the creators of Amplitube as well, they give you 50 of their finest IRs. So everything from, like, there's old I can say that, old Voxes, there's Dumbles, there's Marshalls, there's Mesa Boogies, all of their finest impulse responses come free when you get the TONEX Cab. Now before we hear some more tones through the TONEX Cab, I thought I'd take its top off, take its front off, and show you the speakers, and go through some more of the nitty-gritty specs of this bad lad. You can also buy different coloured versions of the front, it just velcros on, so you can see the speakers underneath. Now this isn't a conventional way of miking up a regular guitar cab, but the way it's constructed, and like I said at the start, you won't feel the full effect until you hear one in person, because YouTube compresses everything and stuff, so I'm trying to do the best of my abilities here. The Shure SM57 is on a custom Celestion 12-inch guitar speaker driver, and this is a Lavosi 1-inch high compression driver up top here. It's closed back at the back, but you can see the ports at the front. It's 350 watt RMS with a 700 watt peak, which is more than loud enough. I've got it running, what's the volume? Like 2, a quarter of the way up, 9 o'clock, and my Apple Watch has been going, you're over 90 decibels. Over 30 minutes of this can permanently damage your hearing. So on a stage, it's certainly loud enough, and there's funky little legs on the side as well, so you can angle it back, so it hits you more on your face on stage, so you can hear yourself a bit better. The one input, like I mentioned earlier, well, there's 2 inputs. The first input is the guitar input, which I mentioned earlier. The second input is an auxiliary input, which is either 1/4-inch jack or XLR, which you can use for whatever you want, I guess. Plug it in, something to play backing tracks along with, plug your computer in, use it as a computer speaker, plug a keyboard in if you're in a 2-piece band and have a pianist with a guitar player or whatever, and that's all controlled with an auxiliary volume control up top by itself. You'll also find those MIDI ins and outs on the back as well, alongside an XLR output. Now this is quite an interesting XLR output because this cab does so much with the presets and the EQ and that amp tone control. You can set this line out to either be a clean line out, I guess, an unaffected line out, as if you were going straight out of a model or whatever into the PA system and run that separately into a PA system live. Or you can set it up so everything that's affected on stage through the cab, so all your EQs, all your presets, amp tones or whatever, is affecting that line out signal. So it's either a clean signal, like it would be from a pedal, or the affected signal. So let's hear some more sounds with my TONEX going straight into the TONEX Cab. The amp tone is about 1 o'clock, all the EQs flat for now. I think 80s Hero is one of the best presets I've ever heard on anything. It's what I played in the intro. How good's that, man? That's the amp tone all the way down, so it's on mic. So it gives us that little mid-range hump, which you get with really cranked loud amplifiers. I'm also acutely aware that having my guitar at loud speaker height is feeding back a little bit, so apologies for that. I should have thought about that. I'm going to scoop this. I don't know what amp this is, but I'm going to faux fender it and crank the bass and treble and scoop the mids. What a cool thing. Stop screaming. Why is my Sustainiac broken? During this video. Yeah, so I turned all the EQ up to 1 o'clock there, just because I could. The amp tone is still at 1 o'clock. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that's all the size specs and sounds I can give you from the wonderful IK Multimedia TONEX Cab in all of its glory. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. There's also links in the description box down below so you can grab one from everyone's favourite music store. Click the link to find out what that is. It's Anderton's. If you comment down below what you think of the TONEX Cab, what would you use it for? Would you utilise all the presets and stuff, or do you just like the idea of this portable, powerful little powerhouse being a part of your rig? If you like what I do, want to support me even more, check out my Patreon page, which is also just down there. Be sure to subscribe. I've been Dagan. I'll see you next time.